The Waffen, or armed SS, was initially recruited from among the members of the Nazi Party chosen to make up the protection squads. Recruitment has since opened to other European nationalities. This isn't just a military unit. It is also a powerful organization where each member receives moral and political instruction to make him worthy of being part of an elite.
Unlike the regular army, the better-equipped Waffen-SS answers only to the orders of Hitler's number 2, Reichsführer Heinrich Himmler. On 2nd May 1944, in Montpezat-de-Quercy, a few kilometers north of Montauban, soldiers of Das Reich shot dead 15 civilians in retaliation for the sabotage of the Toulouse-Paris railroad line. On 11th and 12th May, aided by the Gestapo and the local milice, they raided some 20 villages in the area around Figeac. In just 2 days, they arrested nearly 800 people, torching and looting farms as they went. On 21st May, in Fraissinet-le-Gelat, they hanged 3 women from their balconies. They executed 10 men, then torched the village. On the eve of their departure north, and guided by the Gestapo from nearby Agen, a Das Reich battalion executed 10 resistance members and 7 civilians. The commander of the Das Reich division is General Heinz Bernhard Lammerding. Born in 1905, a former civil engineer, Lammerding has been a Nazi from the movement's beginnings. He is both an experienced SS soldier and a mass murderer who led special commando units in Belarus and the Baltic states. Lammerding is intelligent, ambitious, and totally unscrupulous. He took part in all the battles that followed the German invasion of the Soviet Union from 22nd June 1941, in which the Das Reich Armored Division played a key role. Elimar Schneider is one of the men from Alsace who was drafted. He would long remember the medical examination he underwent to enter the Waffen-SS. Schneider's account.
At the review board, a Waffen-SS officer, assessing my young athlete's body and looking me straight in the eye, asked me if I had flat feet. He smiled at my negative response and retorted, "You will get the stamp." I didn't understand right away. But after an extremely thorough medical examination, I received my military record book bearing the famous stamp saying, "Passed for service in the Waffen-SS." It was one way of claiming that I was a volunteer, though I had signed nothing, no enlistment papers.
To the Nazi military administration, Schneider was a Volksdeutsch, or ethnic German, born outside Germany. In 1944, between 1,000 and 2,000 other men from Alsace are enlisted in the Das Reich division. Adolf Rainer Diekmann, the commander of the Der Führer's 1st Battalion, is charged with protecting the division's left flank, 10th February, by the deputy commander of the Western Front, Marshal Sperl, setting out the procedures to be followed. Order concerning the fight against terrorists. Respond promptly to any attacks by terrorist gangs. If innocents should be slain, then the fact is regrettable, but is the fault of the terrorists alone. Owing to the current situation, showing excessive severity in the measures taken will not result in any sanctions. Walter Schmalt, a member of the local Gestapo, and Reconnaissance Battalion Commander Heinrich Wulff carry it out. That morning, the prefect of the region, Pierre Trouillet, negotiates with the SS to free the detainees. He succeeds in securing the release of men needed to keep the town running. It's only a partial victory. At noon, 600 men still wait to learn their fate. Meanwhile, Elimar Schneider from Alsace patrols the town to tell residents of the punishment in store for the men. In the streets around Souillac Square, townsfolk see this message posted on walls.
Citizens of Toul, 40 German soldiers were murdered in the most dreadful manner by communist gangs. For resistance fighters and those who aid and abet them, there is but one sentence, that of hanging. They do not fight openly and have no sense of honor. 40 German soldiers were murdered by the resistance. 120 of the resistance or their accomplices will be hanged. Their bodies will be thrown in the river.
The warning is signed by the SS Division's General, Heinz Lammerding. Despite its wording, there is no evidence that those held in the factory are linked to the resistance. They are innocent townsfolk. At 3:30 in the afternoon, in the munitions factory, the 120 men demanded by Lammerding are picked out and taken away. Soldiers from Heinrich Wolff's reconnaissance battalion obtain ropes from the inhabitants. They sling these from street lamps and balconies, a mission, as Elimar Schneider points out, entrusted to the most experienced.
We chose hanging because it is more humiliating than being shot. The executioners were appointed from the reconnaissance battalion, mainly composed of German men, half of them soldiers from our company who had come from the Russian front.
Having obtained the release of some of the captives, Prefect Truhe tries to convince Kovac to postpone the executions. "I'm sorry," Kovac retorts. "We got into the habit of hanging people in Russia. We hanged 100,000 men in Kharkov and Kiev. For us, this is nothing." On the afternoon of 9th June in Toul, at around 3:30, the Germans hang the first group of 10 from street lamps, trees and balconies in Souillac Square and nearby streets. The SS force residents to witness the ordeal. On the terrace of the Tivoli Cafe, on the other side of the square, men from Das Reich drink and laugh to the sounds of a gramophone as they watch the spectacle. One SS soldier even draws pictures of the hangings. The victims are finished off with a shot from a pistol or a burst of machine gun fire. Then the next 10 men are led to their gallows. Can we possibly imagine the scene? Asks Father Espinas, chaplain of Toul High School. Men, immobile under duress, soldiers below the gallows, groups of hostages led to their execution. The hangings continue throughout the afternoon. At the end of the day, Elimar Schneider goes to the munitions factory where the last few prisoners are waiting.
Entering by the factory gate, I asked how many hostages remained, informing him that there were not enough ropes. Walter Schmald pointed to a group kneeling to the left of the entrance, a dozen civilians, and a group of around 20 in front of him. In front of them stood a chaplain in a faded cassock, his face sad. It was Father Espinas, giving them absolution.
The chaplain negotiates tirelessly with Walter Schmalt for the lives of the detainees and manages to save a handful of them. It's 7 in the evening. After 98 hangings and one man gunned down while trying to escape, Schmalt calls an end to the executions. There's no more rope. 500 of those who were forced to watch are imprisoned in Limoges. Half will later be deported to the concentration camp in Dachau. Of the 120 men ordered to die, just 21 escaped that fate. The dead are aged between 17 and 46. Among them, students, insurance clerks, barbers, typists, dairymen, plumbers, accountants and engineers. Just 2 of them were from the resistance. In the evening, members of the French youth camps, an 8-month military service set up by the Vichy regime, cut down the hanged men. They take the bodies to the town dump and toss them onto the rubbish. Diekmann is a cold-blooded killer. Barely 30 years old, he is already responsible for many massacres on the Eastern Front. Another officer, Otto Kahn, commander of the 3rd Company and a career soldier who joined Das Reich in 1940, along with his direct subordinate Heinz Barth, will head the reprisal operations. The pair of them have much blood on their hands from a long campaign of atrocities in Eastern Europe.